Students, today we are going to start with the chapter 3 of our book Hornbill. The name of the chapter is Discovering Tut, the Saga Continues by A.R. Williams. Before starting the chapter, let us see who is the writer of this chapter. This chapter is written by A.R. Williams. Her name is Anne Williams. She is a former senior writer for National Geographic magazine and online news, where she covered the world and all that's in the for almost 3 decades. And she is specialized in archaeology, writing features that took her from Egypt to Alaska. And this piece of writing is belonging to Egypt. Now let us see the introduction of the lesson. This lesson is written by A.R. Williams, and this chapter is about the last heir of the powerful Pharaoh dynasty, Tutankhamun, who died when he was a teenager after ruling for 9 years. He died in a mysterious way, and this chapter throws light over all the possible mysteries, the curse, where his tomb lies, his life, and ultimately death. You must be knowing that Egypt is famous for these pyramids and mummies, and Egyptians believe that there is a life after death, and that is the reason why pharaohs were buried, and wealth and everyday use items were also buried with them. Pharaohs were the kings of the Egypt. Those who were living earlier in Egypt, they were having pharaohs. They were really very powerful kings at that time. So let us see about the characters now. The main characters of this is not a story, it's a documentary which was produced by National Geographic channel, and it is all that happened in history of Egypt. The main characters are King Tut. He was the last heir of the powerful family that had ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. His preserved body was the first mummy to be scanned. Now, second is Howard Carter. He was the British archaeologist who in 1922 discovered King Tut's tomb, and because he wanted to take out the body of King Tut, and because of this he really caused a lot of damage to the King Tut's body. Then the next character is Zahi Hawass, and he is the Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiques. He scanned King Tut's mummy for an accurate forensic reconstruction. Then regarding history of Egypt, there are two kings that you will come to know. One is Amenhotep III and Amenhotep IV. You can see in this slide that mummy of King Tut is there, Howard Carter and Zahi Hawass is there. You can see and recognize them. Now let us start from the book. I hope you all must have got the book still now. So let us start. He was just a teenager when he died, the last heir of the powerful family that had ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. He was laid to rest laden with gold and eventually forgotten. So he is referred to King Tut over here. Yes, students, I am again going to start this chapter from the beginning. He was just a teenager when he died, the last heir of a powerful family that had ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. He was laid to rest laden with gold and eventually forgotten. So here he is Tutankhamun, and you can see this chapter, the name of the chapter is only based, the name is Tut, in that it is the short form of Tutankhamun. He was also known as Tut. He was a teenager when he died, and he was the last successor of his powerful Pharaoh dynasty which ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. Then he was laid on rest, heavily loaded with gold. His tomb was discovered in 1922, and his tomb was really, at that time when his tomb was discovered, it was a big question that how so much of gold was inside it, and it was really for the very first time such a treasure laden tomb was discovered in Egypt. Since the discovery of his tomb in 1922, the modern world was speculated. You can see the difficult words also. and I'll be giving you these difficult words in written form also. Here is the inheritor or the successor of a person, as king is there, and when the son is born, he is the heir of that king when the king dies. Laden is loaded. Speculated is from a theory without evidence. It is just a you can say just a guess. Tomb is a enclosure where the dead bodies are kept. Forensic reconstruction is the process of recreating the face of an individual, and Pharaoh is the ruler in ancient Egypt. So you can see this boldly written words is forensic reconstruction. It means through various researches, the scientists have tried to create the face of an individual that was stood in this chapter. So after almost 80 years, this body was undergoing a CT scan, which would give information and clues about his life and how his death came. His death was there. He died. Sorry. Then his face would be recreated with the help of procedure called forensic reconstruction. So this was all research going on his mummy. An angry wind stirred up ghostly dust devils as King Tut was taken from his resting place in the ancient Egypt cemetery known as the Valley of Kings. Dark-bellied clouds had skirted across the desert sky all day and now were veiling the stars in the cascade grey. It was 6 p.m. on 5 January 2005. The world's most famous mummy glided her head first into a CT scanner brought here to probe the lingering medical mysteries of this little understood young ruler who died more than 3,300 years ago. So here, let us see the difficult words over here. First one is stirred, which means move or cause to move slightly. Ghostly is very unnatural or unreal. Resting place here is referred to the grave. Cemetery is a large burial ground. And dark bellied means dark in color. If you have seen clouds that are very dark in color, so the word dark bellied is used for them. Scudded across means moving quickly. Here it refers to the movement of dark bellied clouds. Veiling means to cover something. Casket is a small ornamental box for holding jewelries or any kind of valuable objects. So a fast, strange and unnatural wind was blowing as King Tut's body was taken from his grave called the Valley of Kings, an ancient Egypt cemetery. The name of the cemetery was Valley of Kings, as the location of Valley of Kings is, you can see in the next page in your PDF or in your book. Dark clouds moved very quickly across the desert all day long, and later they covered the stars. On January 5, 2005 at 6 p.m., King Tut's mummy, which is the world's most famous mummy, was placed in CT scanner to investigate the mystery behind his death, which had occurred more than 3,300 years ago. So now let us move to the next paragraph. All afternoon, the usual line of tourists from round the world had descended into the cramped rock-cut tomb some 26 feet underground to pay their respect. So till now you must have understood what we are talking about, what we are discussing about. We are discussing about the mummy that was discovered and was again taken out on 5th January 2005 for CT scanner. So that some forensic research could be done on that. So whose mummy it was? It was the mummy of King Tut. Why this research was going on? The research was going on because the final mystery behind the death age of Tutankhamun and what was the reason behind his death was unknown. So lot of mysteries were going to be revealed after this research.